Okay, so imagine this. What if there was a way to instantly make carbon emissions disappear? Just poof, gone.
Huh. Sounds almost too good to be true, doesn't it?
It really does. Well, today, we're diving deep into a concept that promises something pretty powerful. The fascinating and sometimes difficult intersection of blockchain technology and carbon offsets.
Yeah, we've gathered a stack of sources looking into this. They're exploring whether this combination is a genuine green solution,
Oh.
or, as one source bluntly put it, maybe just digital lipstick on a broken system.
Oof. Okay, so our mission for you in this deep dive is simple. We hope you quickly get your head around the promises, the pitfalls, and the sort of bigger picture with these tokenized carbon credits.
It's definitely cutting edge stuff. We want to give you a shortcut, basically, to being really well informed on what's happening here.
So let's start with the basics. Carbon offsets, most people have heard of them, right?
Right. You know, the concept, it's that mechanism for, say, individuals or companies to try and cancel out their carbon emissions by funding projects that either reduce CO2 or absorb it from the atmosphere. Think planting trees.
Building wind farms.
Exactly, or protecting forests that already exist. The theory behind it is pretty noble. You pollute less, or you pay someone else to kind of undo your environmental footprint.
Right, the theory is noble.
Yeah.
But the practice, as our sources point out, has been, well, notoriously messy, is a polite way to put it.
Yeah, messy is generous. The traditional carbon offset market, based on what we've read, is just plagued by issues.
Things like fraud.
Fraud, definitely.
Huh.
Double counting credits, so selling the same offset twice. Unverifiable claims.
And, I mean, let's be honest. Companies may be just pretending to be green while they carry on with business as usual.
That too. And all of this, it just tanks the trust. It undermines the whole system's effectiveness.
Makes it incredibly hard to know if your money or your company's money is actually doing any good.
That trust deficit is huge, and that's precisely where blockchain proponents step in. They say it can bring order to this chaos.
Okay, so given that messy picture, how exactly does blockchain even start to fix it? What's the basic idea?
The core idea is pretty straightforward conceptually. Track every single carbon credit on a public, unchangeable ledger.
Like a digital record book everyone can see.
Exactly. Blockchain, in this context, the promise is transparency, traceability, and records you can't tamper with. Meaning, theoretically, you could see exactly where a credit came from, which project generated it. You could see if it's already been used or retired.
And who's holding it right now.
Precisely. So the idea is no more double dipping, no more fudging the number.
Just clean, immutable data visible to anyone who wants to look. That sounds, frankly, revolutionary for a market like this.
It does.
But is it really that simple to just roll out globally? I mean, what are the hurdles? It can't just be tech, right?
That's a really key question. And a lot of it does come down to the quality of the underlying projects themselves, which, yeah, we definitely need to talk about. But just focusing on the tech for a second, this isn't purely theoretical anymore. There are projects out there actively building this stuff.
Like who?
Well, our sources mention names like Toucan Protocol, Climadio, Flowcarbon. They're already creating systems for these tokenized carbon credits.
So they're turning this sort of vague certification process into something you can actually track on a blockchain.
That's the goal, making it verifiable in real time on chain.
So you could think of each carbon offset almost like a unique digital item, maybe like an NFT or just a tradable token.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. A token with baked into it metadata showing its origin, impact, and legitimacy.
Like a digital fingerprint for every ton of co-euros supposedly reduced or captured?
Exactly. But, and this is really the crucial point, the big rub our sources highlight.
Go on.
Just putting something on a blockchain doesn't magically make it real or good. If the underlying carbon project is, junk, meaning it's ineffective, it doesn't actually reduce emissions, or maybe it would happen anyway, even without the offset money.
Then tokenizing it doesn't fix that fundamental problem.
Precisely. It just makes it easier, potentially faster, to trade that, garbage. Blockchain confirms the token exists and hasn't been double spent, but it can't verify the real-world quality of the project itself.
So the tech amplifies transparency of the record, not necessarily the quality of the offset.
You've got it. That's the critical distinction, the due diligence on whether the project actually works environmentally. That responsibility doesn't go away. It might even become more important.
Okay, that is a really vital point for anyone looking at this space.
Yeah.
And speaking of problems, there's another sort of irony here we need to address, right? The energy consumption.
Ah, yes, the elephant in the server room.
Using a potentially carbon-intensive system to manage carbon credits, it comes up quite a bit in the readings.
It does, because many blockchains, especially the older proof-of-work ones, like Bitcoin's original model,
They use massive amounts of electricity.
huge amounts. Their security relies on intense computation.
And there's a great analogy one source used.
Oh, I remember that one. Using a carbon-heavy system to manage carbon credits. That's a little like buying a treadmill that runs on coal.
Huh. Yeah, it perfectly captures that sort of counterintuitive aspect. It seems almost self-defeating.
It really highlights a potential major footprint for a solution that's meant to be helping the climate.
But as the sources also point out, that's not the whole story on energy, is it? It's more nuanced.
Thankfully, yes. Not all blockchains are built the same way, energy-wise.
So there are alternatives.
Definitely. Many newer blockchains, and even older ones like Ethereum that have upgraded, are moving towards low-energy models. They use things like proof of stake.
Which is much less energy intensive.
Orders of magnitude less. It relies on users staking their own coins for security, not massive computation. Some are even aiming for fully carbon-neutral infrastructure.
Okay, so those kinds of blockchains seem like a much better fit for this whole carbon market idea.
Absolutely. They're the ones far more likely to actually deliver on the positive vision without, shooting themselves in the foot energy-wise.
So when you put all these pieces together, the potential for transparency, the risk of tokenizing bad projects, the energy question, what's the overall verdict from our sources? Where does the balance lie?
Well, the consensus seems to be that blockchain can absolutely bring significant benefits. Transparency, accountability, maybe even helping the market scale up.
Things the traditional market desperately needs.
Exactly. It has immense potential to fix many of those existing flaws we talked about earlier. However,
There's always a however.
it is definitely not a silver bullet. It's not a magic fix.
Right. Because, as we've kind of hammered home, the tech is only as good as the projects it's verifying.
Mm-hmm. The blockchain can track the token, track the claim, but it can't magically make a poorly designed project effective or guarantee the science behind it is sound. That still requires real-world verification.
So to wrap things up a bit, this deep dive really highlights this kind of dual nature, doesn't it?
It really does. On one hand, you've got immense potential for fixing a broken market with transparency and accountability.
But on the other, significant pitfalls. You might just be trading flawed assets more efficiently, or using energy-hungry tech to do it.
It does make you think, doesn't it, that maybe the green future might just run on code? Or at least code could play a big part.
Which then leads to that even deeper, maybe more provocative question that came up.
Yeah.
Are we actually solving climate change with tools like this? Or are we just finding fancier, more complex ways to maybe delay the real hard actions needed?
That's the multi-trillion-dollar question, isn't it? It's a really complex trade-off to think about. Where does innovation help and where does it potentially distract?
It's a tough one.
It really is.
So maybe the thought we can leave you, the listener, with today is this. How do we make sure that these kinds of technological solutions, whether it's blockchain or AI or something else, genuinely tackle the root problems?
Instead of just, say, optimizing systems that might already be flawed at their core?
Exactly. And maybe more practically, what criteria would you use to look at a carbon offset project, whether it's tokenized on a blockchain or not, and decide if it's truly making a positive impact? Something to chew on.